This video is brought to you by Grandeur Warranty, your #1 online source for factory-backed extended warranties in the country.
Kia flew me out to California, where I had a chance to not only drive the X-Pro through the beautiful hills just north of Santa Barbara, but I also had a chance to sit down with some of the folks responsible for developing the Telluride. And I think the first thing we need to talk about is just how popular this three-row has become. The first generation was a mindset shift for a lot of consumers who are shopping for a Honda Pilot or a Toyota Highlander, because the Telluride brought in a lot of design and forward-thinking features that in a lot of ways elevated the Kia above the more established Japanese names. Now let me give you an example of just how popular this car has been. In 2019, Kia sold 59,000 Tellurides. In 2025, they sold 123,000 Tellurides. So that's an increase of 108%. And if you look at the Telluride market share, it's gone from 3.5% in 2019 to 8% in 2025. So this car is really blowing up. So Kia has to nail the second generation Telluride if they're going to keep that momentum up. But did they? So much like everything else in the world, the Telluride has grown for its new generation. The total length is up about 2.3 inches, but what's interesting is the wheelbase has been extended 2.7 inches. The height is up between half an inch and a full inch, so it's gotten bigger overall, but a lot of these improvements are actually making their way into the third row. Third row legroom is up 0.7 inches, and third row ingress is up 2.3 inches, total interior volume up 2.5 inches. So if you were looking at a Telluride in the previous generation, and maybe it was just a smidge too small for your family, this new one could be the ticket. Kia's also completely revamped the powertrains for the Telluride. So the old Telluride was powered by any powertrain that you wanted, as long as it was a naturally aspirated V6. So Toyota was going to turbocharging, while other manufacturers were going to hybridization, Kia stuck with the good old NAV6. Now, for the new Telluride, the V6 is gone, which is kind of interesting because the sister car to the Telluride, the Palisade, still has an NAV6, but not if you want the Kia. So the standard engine in the Kia now is a 2.5 liter, 4-cylinder turbo, 274 horsepower, 311 pound-feet of torque. That's up 49 pound-feet of torque compared to the outgoing V6. Now, this engine, it's been around for a little bit of time now, and it really does suit the character of the Telluride, in my opinion, more than the V6. The old V6 was fairly smooth, which was great, but it really lacked in low-end torque delivery. And this new 2.5-liter 4-cylinder turbo is a huge improvement over that. Now, keep in mind, even the X-Pro, the off-roady trim, doesn't have a low-range transfer case, but it does have the same 8-speed that you're going to get in all the standard gas Tellurides. And I had a chance to drive this thing off-road, and I noticed climbing up some of these hills, you lock the car into first gear, and what's such a big improvement over the old one is the abundance of low-end torque. So where you really felt the torque converter fighting the power band of the old V6, where it was way up in the RPM range, the new one is torquey and confident down low. It is just a little bit coarse outside of idle. So in that 1500 to 2100 RPM range, it gets a little bit buzzy, but the torque delivery is so much better than the old one. And let's talk about that X-Pro. Now, there was an X-Pro in the previous generation, but it was really just an appearance package that didn't provide you with much additional capability over any other Telluride. That one had 8.4 inches of ground clearance. The new one is up 0.7 inches at 9.1 inches of ground clearance. Tire size has gone up a lot as well, 245/60 to 255/60. There's other really important things. The new Telluride has off-road modes, which the old one didn't have. The new Telluride has an off-road display that tells you critical, not only tilt and yaw, but also temperature information relating to the engine and transmission, which is great to see. And most importantly, in terms of if you're looking and taking this thing for an adventure, it has recovery points, 2 in the front, 2 in the rear. So if you do need to recover someone off-road, this thing's gonna have the capability to do so. Now, genuine off-road tire, not a mud terrain, but definitely an all-terrain on this Telluride. And I found that the traction off-road was pretty good. One of the cool things we did is we actually got to drive it through a riverbed and, put that thing in first gear, use the surround view cameras to really get a good sense of where the vehicle is positioned in the riverbed, and then it was easily able to ford this water. Granted, probably only 8 to 10 inches, but kind of loose river rock underneath, and the traction was really good. And this also has a new reprogrammed ELSD system. It's not a mechanical locking diff or a mechanical limited slip, which I think would be a great thing to put into the X Pro variant. It's still using wheel speed sensors and brakes to distribute torque, but I find that it worked pretty well. And actually, check this out. Over this mogul section, I got it really two-wheeled here. So left front, really up in the air. And actually, I was really pleasantly surprised with how quick and responsive the brake system was to get us unstuck. Now, in the past, Hyundai and Kia have really struggled with their off-road programming. I've been pretty vocal about it, but I just had the chance to drive the Santa Cruz off-road, and I found that that was such an improvement over previous model years. And the Telluride seems to be using that same basic programming. Genuinely, folks, the response that you get out of these systems, these new Hyundai Kia systems, is very impressive. I'm really impressed with what they've been able to accomplish with open differentials, and I can't wait to get this thing out on the slip test to see how it does. Now, the hood height is still pretty tall, so you do end up relying quite heavily on that front camera, especially on some descents, and it still is fundamentally an extremely long vehicle overall, so it's not going to be a rock crawler. But with 9.1 inches of ground clearance, I did find that it was able to traverse more than you might expect, which is pretty neat. Now, the one thing which I'm going to give them a hard time for, they need to incorporate a standard front skid plate on the X Pro. Now, it is an optional dealer accessory, but it's got to be standard, and I'd actually love to see one underneath the fuel tank as well, to really bring it to the next level. Because, if they want to say they're competing against vehicles like the Explorer Tremor, which has got a lot of skid plates, potentially the Grand Cherokee L, it's got a lot of skid plates, right? And actually a low range in that vehicle. Even vehicles like the new Pilot Trail Sport, that's got that integrated skid plate that's quite beefy. I think they need to step up the game a little bit. So they got the tires right. I think they got the ground clearance right. They got the terrain information better than anything else in its class. It's really, really good. But they need to give more skid plates as standard in the X Pro. But as a whole, I'm not going to say this is a rock crawler, but it will do what you need it to do. It'll also tow 5,000 pounds if you get the standard gas engine. Now, if you want the hybrid, you can't get the X Pro, but you can get a car like this silver one that I drove. This is the SX Prestige. Now, this is significantly more powerful than the X Pro. So we're looking at a 2.5 liter, 6-speed automatic turbo engine with 2 electric motors, 329 horsepower, 339 pound-feet of torque. Now, compared to the old generation, that's up 38 horsepower and 77 pound-feet of torque. Now, if you get the base model, front-wheel drive, up to 35 mpg combined, realistically, an all-wheel drive one rated in the low 30s combined. So this is a very impressive engine. And if you don't need the added capability of the X Pro, which realistically is most people, try to stretch for the hybrid. Now, on paper, it looks a lot more expensive than the other Telluride. So the Telluride starts at about $39,000, and you look at the hybrid and you're like, ooh, 45, 46 grand for that thing. But you got to realize you can't get the very base trims in the hybrid. So if you look at more apples to apples, it's about a $2,700 price increase for the hybrid, but it's smoother in my opinion than the gas engine. It's quicker to respond because you get that torque of electric motor, and you get better fuel economy, somewhere around 8 mpg better than the standard gas version. So in my opinion, that's going to pay for itself over time. It was just a more pleasurable experience to drive, and it's the winner. I mean, I don't mind the standard 2.5. You'll be happy with it, but I think that the turbo hybrid is very, very cool. Now, this XS Prestige I drove, it's quite luxurious inside and out, but if you want to see all the interior features and all that goodies, check out the previous video over at TFL Car. Sophie and Bay from Redline Reviews and I go throughout the trunk and everything you need to know. But from a driving impression standpoint, the only thing worth noting that is maybe a little bit out of the norm from what you'd expect is the steering. Quite heavy. You do have to put a little bit of meat into it to get it to turn. But apart from that, suspension calibration is excellent. Road noise, or the lack thereof, excellent. The body control over big bumps, small bumps, excellent. This vehicle feels a class above a lot of its competition. Now, I'm talking the big competition. We already talked about Pilot. We already talked about Highlander, Explorer, Acadia, Traverse. This car drives more similarly, in my opinion, to a CX-90, which is a huge thing because that's a level of refinement above the rest of the ones I just listed, and maybe even better than the CX-90. I know that has that wonderful inline-six versus the four-cylinder turbo hybrid, but I really like the way this thing goes down the road. It feels a lot more Acura or Infiniti than Hyundai Kia, or maybe I should say it feels more Genesis than the rest. But look, as a whole, guys, I think that this car is a major winner. Pricing for the standard gas versions goes from about $39 to about $57. Destination's $1,500. Pricing for the hybrids goes from about $46 to about $58. You can touch $60 as we did with our SX Prestige press car. It's a lot of money, but for the amount of luxury you get and the design, and I've harped about the design on and on, but the rear three quarters is so Range Rover, and they've really executed that well. And I actually think that the whole marketing strategy of this vehicle is so Range Rover. You won't see a Telluride commercial, even a standard non-X Pro, where it isn't off-road. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to sell this luxury off-road lifestyle and persona, and I kind of think they nailed it. And I know, because I've read the comments, there is a concern about reliability. Keep in mind, you get that 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty in these vehicles. So long term, I'm confident keeping this that 10 years. And if you are shopping for a Kia Telluride and you're worried about what's going to happen past that 10-year, 100,000 miles, that's where today's sponsor comes in, Grainger Warranty. With Grainger Warranty, you've got the peace of mind knowing that your Kia or Mazda or Toyota or Honda or any number of new vehicles will be covered in the long run. Grainger offers extended warranties. You can save some money using the link below, and you'll likely save a lot of money in the long run if you do end up with big issues using Grainger Warranty. So big thank you to Grainger for sponsoring today's video. So as a whole, Kia nailed it. They really did such a good job. I'm impressed with at least the introductory off-road experience I had with the X Pro. Kudos to Kia too. Usually these manufacturers put together this little dinky parking lot course where there may be some sand or some gravel that accidentally blew in from the surrounding fields. But this was a genuine course they set up. It was 45 minutes long. We got it side tilted at one point, and the car performed admirably. So I'm excited to get this thing out to Colorado. We'll try it on some stuff that's a little bit tougher, really find the limits. We'll put it on the slip test. We'll see how that all-wheel drive system performs. But yeah, Kia knocked it out of the park with this one. Compared to the Palisade, it would be close for me which one I would buy. I think I would go the Kia because I like the looks a little bit more, and I like the standard turbo engine more than the V6 in the standard Palisade. But as a whole, they're very similar, and you really can't go wrong with either. I would say get whichever one your dealer has and whichever one is not marked up, because you're going to be happy with either. Guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you think you did Cole behind the camera in this one, and we'll see you in the next video.